So, a lot of people tell me, especially in this industry, you got to stay in your niche, or niche or whatever.
That's the first time I've heard it said niche.
Yeah. I used to call it a niche, and now I call it a niche.
Niche.
I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Niche,
Yeah.
Niche down.
Yeah. I'm like, vocabulary is not my thing anyway. So I just use, 5-year-old words. But the thing is I love variety because it keeps myself interested. And, I think I go back in the day, right?
Back in the
like
day.
I even see, my dad and my grandfather, they've had the same job for 40, 50, 60 years.
Right.
My grandfather's still going at 80.
Yeah.
And every day, same thing, same routine. And I'm just like, that's daunting to me.
Yeah.
And for you, you've been in the contracting business for quite a while, just in the construction field, I guess. And now you're starting to fill your cup in other areas. So like, it's easy to get so sucked into your business, but then that's when your mind just goes, like, I've had my mind go nuts where I'm just like, oh, this is all I do. Like, overwhelming. Yeah. And you're that bottleneck again.
Right.
And, be able to push off that work. And so I guess my question is, why the variety? Why have those passions? Is it important for every human to have these kind of passions and side projects and things that they're passionate?
Well, when you first start out, somebody comes to you and they say, hey, do you do? And you go, yeah, I do that. I do that. And then you run like hell to find somebody who knows how to do that, right?
Yeah.
I was that kid that drove around with a couple of lawnmowers sticking out of the back of a Chevette, right? And stole my dad's weed whacker and a gas can, and I was off and running, right?
Yeah.
A day like today, I'd be trying to shovel somebody's driveway for $5, But I can speak to that in the contracting world where, I do everything, but you got to have everything. You got to have all the tools. You got to have all the skills. You got to be kind of a jack of all trades. And then the unfortunate master of none, right? Yeah. So we've looked at that in the contracting business. Like, we did some big jobs over the last couple of years, and it wasn't always great. I kind of felt like things got away from me. We didn't have control. It was hard to get guys, and we spend more money to get stuff done than I might have figured, 6 or 8 months earlier.
Exactly.
So we didn't make the money we thought we would, So what we've looked at this year, and it's interesting you asked that because, it's a good time to say this, is we're looking for, I said to Ryan, let's look for a kitchen or a bath or a basement or a deck.
Yep.
Okay. And it has to be at a certain profit margin or it doesn't go on the books.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Stay in our original footprint. So I don't have to talk to an excavator. I don't have to get a concrete guy coordinate. So that's kind of our approach this year. And that is niching down.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And some guys niche down even further. Why not be the best kitchen and bath guy in Southern Maine?
Exactly.
Right? And but the problem is you go in to do someone's bathroom and they say, I was looking at getting rid of this wall here. What do you think? Yeah, we do that.
Yep.
Because they don't want to hire somebody else to do it. And that's okay for a project to expand in that sense, right? But we're not looking for that, right? So let's get really good at what we do.
Exactly.
All right. And you got to let a few things go, and it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Like if somebody called me right now and said, hey, I've got a $400,000, farmhouse renovation, you got to cut half of it off, want to put an addition on. Hard to price. Hard to get guys that want to do that work because of the economy right now. They can do whatever they want.
Exactly.
So now we're at a disadvantage right out of the box. So we've got to be the best guys to work for, pay the most money, have the best work. So it's a tough time to do that. And we got to get better at what we do all the time. So taking what we're doing and making it a little bit more manageable, easier to train somebody to work with us. We know what we're looking for. We can refine our process, and get really good at what we're doing. And so that's kind of how I've handled that. And I think that as you get more comfortable, where you're like, okay, I got a few bones over here in the bank. We're going to pay the rent. We're going to be around next year. You can say, I'm really good at shooting and I want to do that. Or I'm really good at, this fills my cup. The rest of this crap, But you can bring somebody in and have them handle it.
100%.
Like I said, Sonny was after me 6 months ago. You need to hire an admin. You're doing $2 million. Dude, how do you do that without an admin? Like, I don't need an admin. I got this. I got a bookkeeper. He's like, okay.
Exactly.
I just called him. I texted him yesterday. I said, I want you to be the first to know I just hired an admin. He's like, yeah, I can be taught.
Yeah.
Right. But he was right. He was right. And he knows because he's doing it at a higher level.
Yep.
So getting some information from those kinds of guys, that kind of influence has been huge for me.
Yep.
If I listen. And you can never get bigger than, your own, what is it? One of the guys in the group was we default to our highest level of training. I just didn't know. I didn't know what it would do for me. So I'm looking forward to that.